Ho, 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 ho.
Hi everyone, I just want to say something before the video is over, is that I do have merch. If you want to go check that out, it's always going to be in the link in the description below. And I do want to let you guys know, if I haven't already hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm hoping to hit that goal. If I already did, then I'm hoping to get 100 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, if you are willing to help me out by hitting the subscribe button so you can be part of the fam. And here is the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm super happy that you guys are here in today's video. Just in case if you don't know who I am, my name is Hannah, and I'm going to be sharing about 5 paranormal stories over on TikTok. And the first video is from the user Claire, one of the two, Simmons 04. So here is that one.
I want to share a story time about some things my daughter used to say to us when she was between the ages of 3 and 5. She used to tell my husband all the time, like at bedtime or when they would be talking, just the two of them, about how she used to be a boy, and all these weird details about her old mom and her old dad. And I kind of took it with a grain of salt. She's a very, very imaginative child, so I didn't really think too much of it until this one day. So at this time, my daughter was four and a half. I took all 3 of my kids to the park, and we're leaving, and I am like, oh, go throw away the trash or whatever I had in my hand. I said, go throw it away, because I had my newborn son at the time was in a stroller, and my other daughter was on the opposite side of me, and the trash can was on this side. And so my daughter ran past the trash can towards the parking lot. So I start screaming at her. I'm like, stop, come back. So I went over there and grabbed her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I said, you cannot run into the parking lot. There's cars in there. You could get run over by a car. And she turned around and looked dead at me and was like, I know, that's how I died last time with my old mommy. And I just had chills all over my body, and I put my kids in the car, and I called my husband, and I told him, and he was like, see, I've been telling you, she's been on and off sharing these details about how she used to be a boy. It was so weird. Mind you, at this point I'm thinking okay, all of the little details are coming together for me. She used to talk about her old mommy, her old daddy, her old life when she was a boy. And I remember with my pregnancy that I thought for sure the first couple of weeks before we know the gender, I'm like, I feel like this is a boy. I feel like this is a boy. And it's funny because with my other 2 kids, I knew their gender. My other daughter, I could just feel that she was a girl. My son, I could just feel that he was a boy. And I'm like, how are my senses so off with my middle child? And I don't know, it just really makes you think. I had bought a couple books about kids who remembered past lives and stuff, and she doesn't talk about it anymore. She's almost 7, but it was an interesting time.
So my thoughts on that video is that it could very much be a past life kind of thing, but I don't know. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that incident and stuff. The next user is from Brittany Diana. So here is that one.
On my 17th birthday, I woke up with a broken foot, and you might be asking, how does one wake up with a broken bone? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if what I saw was real or if it was some kind of figment of my imagination, maybe my brain piecing something together to make sense of it. But I will tell you what happened from my perspective. It was just a regular night the night before. Hopped in bed, my dog came in the room with me, and I went to sleep. Now, I was always a little bit creeped out by my bedroom, and the town that I grew up in is known to be haunted, so maybe this was a part of that? I don't know. Anyways, I laid my little head down and went to sleep. Well, in the middle of the night, at some point, I remember waking up and I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't call out for help. Nothing. I looked down at the end of my bed and saw a figure standing there. And this figure was just this shadow of a man. He had what I thought kind of looked like a fedora, some kind of hat. I'm sure some of you know where I'm going with this. If you have heard of the Hat Man, yeah, looked exactly like every rendition that I have seen of him. And keep in mind, I had never heard of the Hat Man before this point. So I didn't know what the hell was happening. So I'm laying there, body completely paralyzed, unable to move, unable to speak. And this figure puts its arms out, like around my foot, but never actually touched my foot. Lifted his hands up, and with his hands came my foot, as if he was lifting my leg without touching it. Once he got it up to, say, about here, he just went like this. And I felt so much pain. All I could do was muster up this little sound. I couldn't even open my mouth. It was kind of like a groan, I guess. And it hurt so bad. And then I just went unconscious. Needless to say, this terrified me. I remember feeling like super scared whenever this was going on. And when I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh my God, that was a really weird dream, but my foot was hurting. And I was thinking to myself, no way, my foot hurts really bad, but there's no way that actually happened. So I stood up to go walk to the bathroom, take my little shower like I would do, and I landed on the ground. I had tried to put all my weight on the foot that was hurting because I figured I should just walk it off, and it hurt so bad that I could not stay standing. It was at this point that I screamed out an F-bomb, and if anybody watching this knows my family, you know, you don't do that around my family. I don't do that around my family. They knew something was up. So my mom came running in there, my nana came running in there. They were like, oh my goodness, you okay? And I was like, my foot hurts so unbearably bad. So my mom was like, okay, are you able to walk it off? My nana was like, you know, also trying to figure out what to do, whether to get some ice or whatever. And I was like, no, this is really, really bad. I can't walk on it. So we were like, okay, we'll just take you to the hospital. The hospital was right over the road from our house. So my mom drove me up to the emergency room. They did an x-ray, and can't you believe it? My foot was broken. It was broken on the top. I am absolutely freaked out at this point because I saw the x-ray, and sure enough, my foot's broken. The top of my foot is broken. The only memory I have of this night is that figure lifting my foot and cracking it and me passing back out. That's it. I remember nothing else. Now, is any of that real? Did that actually happen? Is it my brain's way of piecing it together? I mean, I am a big horror fan, so maybe that's how my brain made sense of it. Or maybe it actually happened. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think, and do you have any experiences with this? That was the first episode of sleep paralysis I'd ever had in my life, and I've only had like one other episode since then. No Hat Man involved, but yeah, creepy to say the least. It's the only bone I've ever broken in my entire life, and I have spent years questioning if what I saw is what actually happened.
So from that video, I just thought that was crazy on how that happened, and her foot was actually broken after that incident. I don't know, like waking up after that happened, the following day, poof, her like foot is broken. It's just, I don't know. Like, I do think it's kind of on the paranormal side. I don't know, like, how else would your foot to be broken if you were sleeping, kind of thing, or like not physically doing something to cause it to break, kind of thing. I don't know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. So this next user is Happy Healing X3. So here is that one.
I'm asking Ghost Talk. I hope this lands on Ghost Talk because I have a question, okay? I'll preface with this. We have had a haunting. A couple years ago, I caught shadow people in 4K walking through my house, okay? For real. I have video. Oh gosh, I'm so jumpy. I have video of it, okay? We are spiritual people. We are in tune. The paranormal investigators that I originally worked with, they think that my daughter is sensitive to spirits. They think my daughter is probably a channeler. She doesn't know how she draws them in, but she probably does. We started getting a lot of activity after my daughter's birth, okay? We've had quite a few things happen. Things have happened, so, okay, there's lots of stories there, but I want to talk about what's been happening lately. So she's 6 years old now, and one morning she woke up and she said, "Mom, I heard you talking to me in the middle of the night." I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "I heard you whispering behind me." Now, I put her to sleep by whispering, so she wasn't alarmed when she heard whispering because that is how I do like a little ASMR prayer to get her to fall asleep. We do sleep together. I'm a single mom. So I said, "Well, baby, I was asleep. I don't just lay in bed and talk. Like, I don't talk in the middle of the night." So we just laughed and said it was probably our guardian angels. We often talk about our guardian angels, spirit guides. They leave us coins all the time because I've personally asked them, leave me coins. Prove to me that you're here, that you're around. Send us coins. And they have been. So no big deal. She heard whispering in the middle of the night. I don't know. One morning, though, she woke up. It was like 5 a.m. Okay, she woke up and she couldn't fall back to sleep. She woke me up and I was like, "Okay, I'll come lay next to you, right next to you. We'll cuddle. I'll put you back to sleep." I wasn't whispering, praying like I normally do before bed. I was tired, so I fell back to sleep. As I drifted off to sleep, my daughter woke me up, startled me, and said, "Mom, I keep hearing somebody whispering in my ear." I was like, "Okay, let's get up." We got up for the day. I didn't know what to think of that. Last night, she told me sometimes she hears whispering. Sometimes she hears people whispering to her in a different language. She has no idea what any of this means. She doesn't know that something demonic could be in a different language. But can something good be in a different language too? Just help me out because that really honestly scared me. When she said that, I was like, a different language? I pray over our house all the time. I am a prayer warrior, okay? Like, I feel like I literally pray all day, every day. I cleanse our home. I pray for protection. I pray to Archangel Michael and Saint Anthony to find things. I grew up Catholic. But what I'm saying is that I am constantly praying protection. I am constantly praying. So that I'm like, there's no way that it could be something evil because I pray all the time. There's no way. But it really scared me, so tell me what you think.
I think that was a kind of a weird story, or what she was sharing was pretty weird. I don't know any, like, if I think it's something like paranormal or not. Like, I don't know. But I did thought it was weird. The next user is Cages. Let me look again. The next user is Kajasa Spooky Store. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but that is the next story of the next user. So here's that one.
Do you believe in vampires? Because if you do not, this story may change your mind. So the person who sent this in is a nurse, and so she needs to stay anonymous because it was one of her clients. So I'm going to call her Bailey. Bailey used to work as a caregiver about 10 years ago. She's from El Paso, Texas. Now, there are a lot of like farm-like towns surrounding El Paso, Texas, and one of them is called Fabens, Texas, and this is where this occurred. So she gets a job in Fabens, Texas, and she goes out to this house with her boss and a coworker because her boss is introducing them to the client. So they show up to the house, and when they show up to the house, it's the son-in-law, the daughter, and the client. She said that immediately when she walked in, she just felt incredibly uneasy, and she looked at the daughter's eyes, and the daughter's eyes were like very dark. And she was talking to the son-in-law and the daughter, and while she's talking to them, she looks over and she notices that the client is just staring at her. And when I say staring, I mean she felt like he was, her exact words were, staring into my soul. It made me incredibly uncomfortable. She also said that his eyes were even darker than the daughter's and that the son-in-law just had normal eyes. So they're in the middle of talking, they get done with the introduction, and she said that the son-in-law looks right at her and says, "Please stay safe. If anything happens, please call me. And I mean, if you need help in any way. So she was kind of like, okay. She kind of just brushes it off and she leaves after she's done with the introduction. She's supposed to come back at 9 p.m. She shows back up at 8:45. When she walks into the house, it's the daughter. Just the daughter is there and just the client. And the daughter tells her that there's a baby monitor and that she'll be using that baby monitor to be keeping an eye and an ear out for the client. Now, the baby monitor was like right above where the daughter was standing. And she said that while she was talking to the daughter, she happened to glance up at the baby monitor and she could not see the client in the baby monitor. So she just assumed that he was either in the room somewhere else or he was not in the room. So the daughter gets done with talking to her and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed around 10 p.m. and that's when you can kind of start paying attention to the baby monitor. And so she's like, okay, bet. So the daughter goes to bed around 10 p.m. She's looking at the baby monitor and she still cannot see her client. So she gets worried. So she goes and checks on him. So the baby monitor was facing directly at his bed. So she had a full view of his bed. So she walks into the room, she opens a door and she nearly jumps out of her skin because she sees that the client is laying in bed. So she's kind of just like, oh, you scared me. And she, makes sure that he's okay and everything. And then she goes back to the baby monitor and she checks. And again, she cannot see the client. So she's like, what the hell is going on? So she walks back into the room and this time she faces the camera so that it's directly on him completely. And then she walks back out of the room. She goes back to the baby monitor. She checks the baby monitor again, still nothing. So she's like, you know what? This camera must be defective. Like, I'll just listen for him. So she finishes her shift that night and she comes back the next night. The next night, the same exact thing happens. She looks at the baby monitor. She cannot see him. She walks into the room. He's in bed. So she's like, what is going on? So she's like, okay, whatever. It's got to be broken or something. So she just goes back out into the living room and she just relaxes. And then she hears something. She hears boom, boom, boom. Like someone is walking around in the client's bedroom. She's listening for a second and she's like, there's no way he's up right now. And then she starts to hear this whispering sound, like this light whispering sound, but she hears it, like it's clear as day. So she's a little freaked out, but she has to go check on the client now. So she goes back into the room, she checks on the client, he's in bed. So she walks back out in the living room and now she's freaked out because now she's hearing stuff. She can't see him on the baby monitor and she's wondering about like the eyes and all this other stuff. Her head is just racing. Then suddenly she hears this scream come from the bedroom. The client is screaming. And so she is in shock at this point. So she jumps up and she runs into his room and he is fine. He is laying there like nothing happened whatsoever, just staring at her with those black eyes. So at this point, she's like, I have had enough. So she goes and checks on the daughter, and the daughter is fast asleep, even though she just heard screaming. So she goes back out into the living room. She checks the baby monitor again. He's still not on the baby monitor, and she is terrified at this point. She said that this went on all night long. Him screaming, her going into the room, and him just up staring at her. Each time, not saying anything, just staring at her. He's not sleeping at all, and she hears him screaming, but it's like not him or it is him, and he's just messing with her. She's also hearing the walking around in his room, and each time she hears the walking around, she's going into that room immediately afterwards, so she would know if he was up walking around. She leaves that night, and she calls her boss the next day, and she's like, listen, I'm not going back to that house. There is no way you can get me to go back to that house. It's just too much, and she tells her boss what was going on. Her boss is like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to go back there. We'll send someone else there. So they send someone else there. And the next day, they both get called into the office. Apparently, that girl had went through the same thing that she went through and had complained about it. So when they get called into the office, their boss is like, listen, what's going on with you two? What happened? So they tell her everything. And they tell her about the baby monitor. So her boss is like, okay, well, why don't we just talk to the daughter about the baby monitor? So they call the daughter and they're like, listen, some weird stuff has been going on. My employees are complaining. And also something is wrong with your baby monitor. Apparently, your father is not showing up on the baby monitor. We think it's broken. The daughter, instead of being like, okay, I'll check the baby monitor, terminated services right away. No explanation, just terminated services after 3 days. So what do you guys think happened here? What do you think this was? Do you think that this was a broken baby monitor and just some really creepy family? Or do you think that this was something else? She thinks that it was a vampire. What do you guys think the creepiest part of this story was? Because I gotta be honest with you, him screaming and then her going into the room and seeing that he's just sitting there staring at her, creeped me out. That would freak me out. If someone was just screaming and then you go into the room and they're just laying there staring at you, like, oh. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any cameras that are broken that show the room but not a person. Is that possible? I'm not very tech savvy when it comes to this type of stuff. You would think that I would be because I'm a content creator, but I'm not. So if somebody could please tell me if this is a thing, drop it in the comments below. I just think there is so much that we don't know, right? That a lot of us intuitively think that we know, but that we don't know. I think there's so much out there than we're made to believe. And I mean, for instance, look at that alien video that girl just made. I know you guys saw it. I can't go into full detail about it because I don't want to get in trouble, but it was crazy. That video, I would listen to it at night and I was like, oh my God, this is insane. She had red hair. It got like 3 million views. That video really got me thinking. Like, I was like, there's just no way. There's no way. There's so much that we don't know. Okay. Now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Gabby Marshall _ you are so cute. You left a comment underneath a video where the creator was giving something away and they said tag a creator that you follow, and you left the nicest comment, and I appreciate you doing that so much. I love it when people tag me and say nice things. Like, it melts my heart. You are the best. Thank you so much for that type of support. It means so much to me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for commenting and being kind. You truly have no idea what an impact you have on me when you do things like that, and I just wanted to say thank you personally, and I love you, girl. Walk.Kenzie, thank you so much for what you said. You left such a nice comment, and I appreciate that so much. I do agree with you. I get some awesome stories. I love the stories that I get. I appreciate you commenting and being kind and pushing my videos out. I appreciate you supporting me and watching me. Like, just that in general makes me so happy. Thank you so much for what you said. You truly made my day. You have no idea, again, like, what the impact that you have on me when you say something like that. So I appreciate you so much, girl, and I love you. I'm gonna go crawl in my bed and, like, literally just, I have a flight to catch tomorrow and I don't have a real ID. And I'm going home to see my family for Christmas, and I live in New York, so I have to go to JFK and do this. Please pray for me that they're going to let me on the flight, because the chances are so slim. So I will have to take a rental car all the way to Florida if not. So just pray for me, please, because I'm sick and I cannot drive 17 hours. But my name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here, or ones that you recommend, every single night. So if you're into that, hit that follow button. And I don't have time for the rest, but spooky kisses, haunted hugs, and have a spooky night. Love you guys.
I think that what that whole thing that she shared was really, like, weird, especially since that nurse isn't the first one who had that experience with this situation with the patient and all that spiel. Like, I don't know. I probably would have done the same exact thing if I was in their shoes. And vampires could be true without us realizing it, kind of thing, like she said. I don't know. Like, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that one. And the next one, which is also the last one in this video, this one is by the user Black Veil Paranormal. So here is that one.
I grew up in a demonic infested home. 2 of them, 2 different homes with demons. So this house was in Virginia City, Nevada. It's an old mining town. It's extremely haunted, okay? If you know about Virginia City, you know it's extremely haunted. And so I was home alone one day. I was like 16 years old, and I was waiting for my mom to come home from work because I hated to be home alone there. So I was in my room. And from my room, when you walk out, there's like the kitchen, right? And then there's a big window that you could see out to the driveway. And I heard my mom from upstairs call my name, Carrie. And I was like, oh, sweet, my mom's home, you know? And so I go over and I unlatch the lock, and she's like, Carrie, calling me again. And I'm like, I'm coming. And I'm unlatching the locks to my room because my door doesn't stay shut unless it was latched. Because the floors were crooked because the house was built in the 1800s. So it was a badass house though. Anyway, so I walk out and I like see the window, but I don't see my mom's truck where she usually parks. I could see it right when I like looked at the window, So I walk over to the window and she's like, Carrie, come up here. And I'm like, hang on. And then I go and look out the window and I'm looking and I don't see her truck. And she's like, Carrie, what are you doing? Come up here. And I was like, dude, that's not my mom. So I was like, fuck this shit. And I'm not going up there. And I just walked out. I walked up. My mom worked in Virginia City, so it's like a 10-minute walk. And I just walked up the road to Virginia City and walked into work. My mom's like, what are you doing here? I'll be off soon. And I was like, I heard you calling my name, from your bedroom. And she's like, oh my God. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Because it was hella fucking scary. Could you imagine what would have happened if I would have went up there? Like, no. My mom used to get, like, scratched in that room and would wake up with bruises and shit. And I slept in there one time with her, and I woke up with a fat-ass bruise on my leg. And I was like, fuck this shit. I ain't sleeping in here. But I also got scratched in my brother's room. Like, 3 scratches on my back. So, me and my brother ended up sleeping together in the living room of that house every night. And, like, when we even were actually home, because we hated being home. We hated being there. So we'd be, like, at our friend's house or my boyfriend's house or whatever. But, yeah. So, super crazy. I've got other stories about these houses if you want to go watch the videos. But just wanted to share that little story time.
So I think it was kind of a mimic kind of situation. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that video or the other ones that I shared with you guys. And if you guys have any paranormal stories or videos over on TikTok that you guys want me to react to and give my opinion, my TikTok is in the description below if you want to check that out, or any other social media platforms and all my other channels and so on and so forth. And from that being said, I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, let me know, and I hope to see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!